Hello, this is Roopa Prasad, Assistant Professor in Department of Computer Applications, MITS College. So today we are going to discuss about one authentication application, but we call it as a Kerberos. We are going to discuss about the Kerberos protocol, which is an authentication application. So coming to the contents of this presentation, first we are going to discuss what is Kerberos. Then we are going to discuss about the problem that Kerberos addresses. That means what for we are using the Kerberos. And then we go for the Kerberos servers, and finally we discuss the operation of Kerberos. So coming to the introduction part, this Kerberos is an authentication protocol. Okay, Kerberos is one of the authentication protocol. So what do you mean by authentication? Authentication is nothing but verifying the identity of the user. So you have to verify the identity of the user, or we can call it as a sender, whatever the identity that you have to verify. Okay, and this verification can be done properly by using the Kerberos protocol. So Kerberos is an authentication protocol. In addition, it also serves as a KDC. Okay, at the same time, it also acts as a KDC. What do you mean by KDC? There is a key distribution center. There is a third party, trusted third party, which is going to distribute the key. Okay, so which is going to distribute the keys between the sender and the receiver, whereas in a symmetric or asymmetric cryptographic algorithms. So Kerberos is an authentication protocol. It is an authentication protocol. In addition, it also acts as a KDC. So, several systems, it is very popular in several systems, Windows 2000, all these operating systems, they are going to use Kerberos only. Okay, and this Kerberos, how this name has come means, in Greek mythology, there is a three-headed dog with that guards the gates of Hades. So by taking this concept, this Kerberos has been termed by the name in the Greek mythology. So Kerberos is an authentication protocol. That means what? Securing. We are providing security for the application. For that purpose, we are this protocol has been termed as Kerberos. That is a brief introduction of Kerberos. Then we discuss what for this Kerberos will be used. That is the problem that Kerberos addresses. Suppose think that there is a distributed environment in which many users at workstation wishes to access the services and servers. Okay, so servers are distributed. The servers are distributed throughout the network, and servers is having the data that can be accessed by many users located at different workstations. So for this type of distributed environment, the server may have the restriction to give access only to the authorized users. Okay, now in this environment we cannot trust the workstation cannot identify the user correctly. Okay, so for this purpose, some unauthorized users may be able to access the services and data for that which that user is not authorized to access. That is the main problem in the distributed environment. So what we are saying is, in distributed environment, there are servers. Okay, these servers can be accessed by many users located at different workstations, and servers have the restriction that only the authorized users can access the data, but the workstation cannot be trusted to identify its users. For this purpose, we are going to use an application protocol that we call it as an Kerberos. Kerberos is an authentication protocol. It's an authentication protocol. For this main purpose only, this Kerberos has been used. Okay. Then coming to the Kerberos servers. So in Kerberos protocols, we have three types of servers are there. So one we call it as an authentication server, second one we call it as a ticket granting server, and third one is called as a real server, that is a data server. Okay, from where we want to access the data, from which server you want to access the data, that server is called as a real server. Okay, so mainly it is going to authenticate the clients to the server. Okay, so that the users, only the valid authorized users can be able to access services of the particular server. So in this Kerberos protocol, we have the three servers are involved. One we call it as authentication server. Simply we can call it as AS. And the second one is called as a ticket granting server. We can call it as a TGS. And third one is a real server. So there is a server which is providing the service. Okay, so just for assumption, we thought that there is a real server. We refer the real server as Bob, and the requesting service is called as a Alice. Alice is a user who is going to request the services from the server called as a Bob. Okay. Then coming to this, we separately explain what are these servers are. Then the first one is called as an authentication server. So the authentication server acts as an KDC. So we already discussed that Kerberos is an authentication protocol, and also it acts as an KDC. So what is the main part? Which server acts as the main KDC means the authentication server. The authentication server acts as a key distribution center. Key distribution center. So every user has to register with authentication server. Okay, whatever the users are there in the network, that user has to register in the authentication server. Then the authentication server gives the user identity and a password. Okay, and this authentication server is going to maintain a database in which all the users' identities and their corresponding passwords will be stored. Okay, so what this authentication server is going to do mean, whenever the user requests a service, the authentication server verifies the user and issues a session key that is between the Alice and the TGS. Alice is the user who wants to access the services, and it is going to, this authentication server is going to issue a session key that can be used for the ticket granting server. Okay, and the ticket granting server will issue the ticket to the server. So it gives permission to access the server by verifying the identity of the user. That is authentication server. And next server is called as an TGS, what we call it as a ticket granting server. So this ticket granting server issues as a ticket for the real server, that is a Bob. Okay, issuing ticket means what? It gives the permission to access the server. It gives the permission to access the server. So for that purpose, it is going to provide a session key that is in between the Alice and Bob. So Alice is the user and Bob is the server, and in between these two users we must have a session key that we call it as a KAB, which is used for the encryption process, symmetric encryption process. Okay, and Kerberos has separated the user verification from issuing the tickets. So access granting is given by ticket granting server, whereas the verification is done by the authentication server. Like that, the Kerberos has been separated. Okay, so in this way, through Alice verifies her identity just once with the AS. So the user is going to verify its identity with the authentication server, and then he can contact with the TGS. So TGS, once he has been authenticated, he can ask n number of servers. He can ask permission to n number of servers. So authentication is done only once by the authentication server. Whenever the authentication is done only, then only it is issuing the key to contact the TGS. So the user can be able to contact TGS n number of times to interact with n number of servers. And coming to the third server, what we call it as a real server. So the real server is a Bob which provides the services for the user. Okay, and Kerberos is designed as a client server program. Kerberos is a client server program such as FTP. That is, whatever we are requesting, the user is going to run the Kerberos program, and the server is going to run the server Kerberos program. So Kerberos is not used for person-to-person authentication. Next, coming to the next one. So this is the operation of Kerberos. We just see the overview, then we discuss in detail. Okay, so here user, which we are referring as Alice, and here is a server from which we want to get the services. And this is authentication protocol, what we call it as a Kerberos. Here we have the two different servers. One is called as authentication server, and this is called as a ticket granting server. The authentication server verifies the identity of the user. Then it gives a ticket to contact with the TGS, that is a ticket granting server. So the user can contact the TGS to contact with the main server, that is a real server, that is a scenario. So let us see in steps what happens. So what the user is going to do, user want to get the access of the server, For this purpose, what he is going to do means, first he is requesting ticket for TGS. So in order to grant the ticket, the TGS is going to grant the ticket. So it is asking to grant ticket for TGS to AS. Okay, then what the AS is going to do means AS is going to verify the identity of the user. It verifies whether he is an authorized user or not. Then if he is an authorized user, then what the AS is going to do means it is going to issue an session key that can be used by alias to contact with TGS. Okay, there is a session key between the alias and TGS, and that will be given. So what the user is going to do, he is going to request the ticket for TJC. After verifying the authentication of this particular user, the AS, the authentication server, is going to give a session key between the alias and which is in between the alias and TGS. Okay, and the ticket for TGS. So this TGS, this AS is going to give a session key and a ticket for TGS. And by using this session key, the user is going to interact with the TGS. Okay, so how he is interacting means by using this session key. So he is requesting the ticket for Bob. That means he want to contact with the real server, that is a Bob. So he is requesting the ticket. So then what the TGC is going to do means verification is already done by AS. So it does not do any verification. So it is going to create a key. That is the Alice and Bob session key will be created, and that will be given for the Alice. So by using this, the Alice is going to make a request to the server, that is a Bob. Then the Bob is going to grant the access. That is a procedure. That is a procedure of the Kerberos servers. And we see the operation in detail. That is a overview. Now we see the operation in detail. So what happens? What is the client process can access a process running on the real server in 6 steps. In how many steps it can be able to access means in 6 steps it can be able to access. Okay. So what is the first step? Here the alias sends a request to AS in plain text using her registered identity. That is the first step. Here we don't perform any encryption process or anything. So what the user, that is the user, is going to do means user is going to send its identity to AS as a plain text. That is the first step. And coming to the second step, the AS, after what the AS is going to do means the AS will send a message encrypted with AD's permanent symmetric key, that is KAS. Okay, that means what we have already discussed. All the users have to register with AS. All the users have to register with AS. When they register, they are having a key between this particular user and the AS. By using that key only, the AS is going to send a message. Okay. So what the message is going to contain? The message is contain 2 items. One is a session key, that is for user for the TGS. And the next one is a ticket, and that ticket is encrypted by using the AS and TGS, by using a symmetric key that is between the AS and TGS. So what for we are using this means, what for this AS is going to send this one means the TGS must able to know that the ticket has been given by AS. Okay, has been given by AS. So the ticket is encrypted by using the symmetric key between the AS and TGS. So this key is only known to AS and TGS. So the TGS get confirmation that the ticket has been given by AS after verifying the identity of the user. That is a procedure why it is going to send the 2 items in the message. First will be the session key that will be used to contact the TGS, and second will be the ticket. Ticket means it is going to include the identity of the user, that is the alias, and that is encrypted by using symmetric key that is AS and TGS. The key is in between the AS and TGS. That is the second step. Okay, so that's what we discussed. So alias does not know the AAS. So by the first this message, this key is that session key between the AS and TGS is encrypted by the whole message is encrypted by using AAS. So what it is going to do means the password in the appropriate algorithm. Okay. So between C types has symmetric password. So by using the password only, it is going to create the key. Okay, soon after creating the key, the password will be destroyed. Okay, like that it is going to get the key from key of A and AS. Okay, then by opening this one, he found some that session key of A, that is A and TGS, and also the ticket. Okay, then coming to the third step. Here, the alias knows now the alias, that is a user, is going to send three items to TGS. So the first is a ticket that is received from AS. Okay, first is a ticket that is received from AS. The second is the name of the real server to which it wants to communicate. Okay, and the third is a timestamp. This timestamp is used to avoid the replay attacks. To avoid the replay attacks, and the timestamp is encrypted by using the ATGS, that is the session key given by AS. Okay. Now the fourth step. What is the fourth step? TGS sends by taking this one. The TGS sends two tickets. The TGS sends two tickets, each containing the session key between Alice and Bob. Two tickets will be sent. Okay, one for Bob and one for Alice. That is one for the server and one for the Alice. Okay. So the ticket for Alice is encrypted by using ATGS, and ticket for Bob is encrypted by Bob's TGS and B. So this real server must know the session key between A and B. For that purpose, it is going to send the two tickets. Next, in the fifth step, what happens? The Alice is going to send the Bob ticket with the timestamp KAB. So, sixth step, by taking the ticket, it confirms that A is an authorized user and he wants to access the services of the server. So, it is going to reply with the receipt by adding 1. So it is going to send the timestamp. By adding 1, the timestamp is returned back to user. So thereby the confirmation that it is not a reply attack and user is valid and server can provide the service. Like that, the Kerberos protocol is providing security, authentication, as well as the key. It is also distributing the key. At the same time, it is going to perform the authentication process. Okay. So this is the information about Kerberos, and this material has been prepared by using these textbooks, by referring these textbooks. And if you have any queries, you may you can send your query to this particular form. Hope you understand. Thank you.